London Airport. Once my brother said, why don't we go to London Airport for your birthday treat? We could spend all day there, London Airport, looking at the planes. It would be great. Yeah, I said, it would be great. Mum said yes, so we took sandwiches and chocolate and drinks. I was really looking forward to it. When we got there, my brother found out that there was this bus that you could go on, a kind of trip round the runways so you could get right close up to the big jets. Great, really great. So he got the tickets and we got onto the bus, and as we were getting on, I said, Brian, I want a wee. So he goes, well, you can't now. This is the last bus today. It's just about to go. We won't get on another one. Brian, I want a wee. So he goes, look, you can't now. It'll wait. It's not that long a time to wait. So we got on. The bus started up and away we went. The driver starts going, we're coming to runway 4 now. If you look to your right, you can see 2 planes. I'm dying for a wee. I said, it'll go away, says my brother. I want a wee. I said, what's the matter? Said the man in front. He wants a wee, said my brother. Well, you can wait, can't you? Said the man. No. I said, well, don't do it here, will you, sonny? He says, can we stop the bus? I said, don't be daft, says my brother. We're on the end of runway 4. You can't do a wee on the end of runway 4. And the bloke driving the bus goes, if you look out of your window, you can see a baggage truck. I'm going to wet myself. I said, my brother says, look, there's Concorde. Just think of something else, will you? I can't. I said, it's hurting. I've got to do it. I've got to do it. The bus went on. We saw more planes. And more planes. And more planes. You haven't wet yourself, have you? My brother says, no. More planes. More planes. More planes. Here goes, I said. Then the bus stopped. I rushed off the bus. I got to the toilet and everything was lovely once again. Wonderful. And then we went home. Mum said, did you have a good time, boys? And my brother said, it was great. Really great. And how about you, she said to me. How was your birthday treat? All right. I said, all right. But I wanted a wee. And they wouldn't let me. And I cried. May. A woman called May used to look after us sometimes. Her husband was a bus conductor and he could wink with both eyes. Fantastic. We used to meet him on the bus. And when we got our tickets off him, if we were lucky, he'd wink one eye, then wink the other eye, again and again, really fast. Fantastic. But best was May. When she came over after tea, we played games. My favourite was raisins. This is how we played raisins. We tipped the raisins out of the raisins jar and we each guessed how many raisins there were. 148, I'd say. 231, May would say. Then we took 1 raisin each, counting. I take 1, put it in my mouth. May takes 1, 2, she puts it in her mouth. I take 1, 3 into my mouth. May takes 1, 4 in her mouth. And so it went on. 131 in my mouth, 132 in her mouth. I love raisins, all chewy and sweet. 201 in my mouth, 202 in May's mouth, 203, last one in my mouth. May had guessed best. She had guessed 231. But now we'd eaten all the raisins. They were all gone. The jar was empty. Could be trouble. Anyway, then it was bedtime. At tea time the next day, we were having fruit salad. And my brother said, I'll have raisins on this. He went to the cupboard. And he saw the empty jar and he goes, where have all the raisins gone? The jar was full yesterday. Mum, he's eaten them all. Look at his face. You can see he's eaten them. Tell him off, Mum. Tell him off. And Mum says to me, did you eat them? And I say, me and May did. And my brother says, see, I told you, it's not fair, Mum. He's a greedy little pig. And then a picture came into my mind of the night before of me and May counting the raisins into our mouths, all chewy and sweet. So I said, I'm not a greedy little pig. And Mum said to my brother, raisins don't last all week, you know. But I didn't tell anyone about our game. Raisins, 203. The sun and the wind.
A very, very long time ago. Last month, I think it was. The sun.
That's me.
And the cold north wind.
That's me.
Were having an argument.
I'm stronger than you.
No, you're not stronger than me. I'm stronger than you windbag.
Well, I'm stronger than you. I can blow really hard.
Do something that Come and show me what you can do. Standing there puffing and blowing in front of me. Who do you think you are? My rays can reach all the way around the world.
Well, you're just full of hot air.
How dare you? They argued all day
Blow stronger.
and had a rest that night, for the sun had to pass over the horizon.
Bye-bye. Not strong enough, see?
And continued to argue the next day.
I said I'm stronger than you. I'm stronger than you.
Look, I have to go down. Everybody needs a little rest sometimes.
Now
I'm
the
stronger than
moon,
you, see?
who was trying to get some rest after being up all night, said, "Why don't you have a competition to see which one of you is the strongest?"
How do we do that?
Well, the first of you to get the coat off that man's back is the strongest. That is the test.
Which man?
But the moon wasn't listening. She was already fast asleep.
Oh, yes. There he is. There's the man. I'll go first. I'll blow the man's coat off. Just you wait and see.
And before the sun had a chance to stop him, the great freezing cold north wind began to blow. And blow. And blow. Well, the man in the coat was nearly blown over, the wind was so strong, and his coat flapped away in the gusts of cold air. But the more the north wind blew, the more the man held tightly onto his coat. And as the wind caught its breath before blowing once more, the man quickly buttoned up the coat and held on tighter than ever.
It's no good. I can't get the coat off the man's back.
My turn now.
Said the sun, and slowly, slowly, it began to get warmer and warmer, then warmer still. The man started to feel the rays of the sun. It felt hot after the freezing cold wind. The sun shone stronger and stronger. It got hotter and hotter.
Look, North Wind. Look at the man now.
He hasn't taken his coat off yet.
Patience, North Wind. Patience.
There's only one thing for it. I'll have to take my coat off.
Son, I am strong, but you are stronger.
And I do not have to blow and bluster to be strong. North Wind, let's not argue anymore. Let's be friends.
About time too, said the moon as she began to rise in the evening sky. And from that day on, the sun and the north wind never argued again.
The Powerpuff Girls.
It's high noon. Just in time for recess at Pokey Oaks Kindergarten, where the girls and their classmates get an opportunity to blow up a little steam.
Oh, mercy. Ah, come on, Mitch. The game's called dodgeball.
Said Buttercup.
If you want to play catch instead, just tell me.
In your face, baby!
And then he threw pens and pencils and chalks all over the floor and made a mess everywhere.
What are you doing with my ball?
Said Buttercup.
Huh? Give it. We got a game going on. Oh, man. You got chalk all over it. You know, Bubbles, this is a playground, not a drawing ground.
Yo, what's the hold up?
I'm coming. Bubblehead is just doing her stupid chalk stuff again. Okay, Mitchie, give me all you got. If you miss, you gotta play with Bubbles and her chalk.
Buttercup became a hero! He wanted to do this by herself, but he couldn't when he was around, but it was too late. All over the city, everything went to pieces. Look out! They shouted. Too late.
Hey, you erased my drawing!
I was looking down to myself.
Sorry.
What are you apologizing for? She shouldn't draw her stupid pictures on the blacktop if she doesn't want them played on. I have every right that you do to be here. Oh, yeah? Well, I don't care what you think. A playground is for playing. Drawing is playing, you minute! You can shoot because you don't know how to draw. You can it's not playing. It's not the same thing. Huh? Fine. Break it up! What's going on here? Well, she started it! She was the one drawing all over the place! She was the one who drawing all over the place on the blacktop! The blacktop was become filled with chalk and stuff! Shut up! Bubbles, you first! Well, I was just minding my own business, drawing. You see! Buttercup, let Bubbles finish!
Just fight already.
Buttercup has to share the blacktop just like everyone else! That sounds fair to me. No way! I'm not sharing nothing! This is a playground! There's plenty of paper in the classroom! She doesn't need to fill up the blacktop with her scribbles! You know what I think of Bubbles and her drawings? You know what I think?
Look out! I shouted.
That's what I think.
Then there was trouble. Then my brother came in. Bubbles was angry. She became louder, and louder! Uh-oh! I said. I think Bubbles was crying. Suddenly, a magic sound came in. There was nothing on it. So I go up to my brother. And so I say, Brian, how did the chalks get broken? My brother said, hey! I see down and broken.
Oh, hi! What you got there? Is that for me? Why, thank you. Hey, where are you going? Come back!
Butterfly disc.
Why, hello, little cutest bear in the whole wide world.
That would sound like a squirrel. So my mum says, Michael! Where has she gone? And I said, I don't know.
Howdy.
She said, they found drawing crayons.
Oh, my.
So we went back to school and we found out. And they had a parade together. Next day we were back in school. Everybody heard about the crayons and the things. And so I said, I like making them. And so I would like them. I would like to get one for my birthday.
The City of Frownsville.
The happiest town on earth. But today is the happiest day of all. Carnival as young and old alike gather from far and wide to celebrate their civic joy at the 6th Annual Happiness Carnival. Jugglers, clowns, fire eaters. It's so totally awesome. Look, Ma, a roller coaster. You couldn't find more excitement anywhere else, except perhaps in the home of 3 of Townsville's most excitable and happy young citizens, the Powerpuff Girls.
Hooray! We're going to the carnival!
The girls said.
Better hurry up, girls, or we'll be late.
Said Professor.
I'm baking a pie!
Said Blossom.
We're entering the dog show!
Said Buttercup.
And I'm entering the 6th Annual Happiest Citizen Contest!
Said Bubbles.
Let's go, girls.
Said Professor.
Hurry, Professor!
They said.
I'm looking forward to this just as much as you are.
They said.
Yay! La, 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 going to the carnival! La, 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 la.
Ah, the sound of children laughing. How sweet it is! But all is not sweetness and light, Powerpuff Girls. If you listen closely, you can hear the sound of crying from within a castle on an island surrounded by a sea of tears. Listen to them! The citizens of Townsville! They all sound so happy! And I am so miserable!
He cried.
But I, Lucubrious, shall have my revenge! I've invented a machine called the Miseray, which will take every ounce of sadness in my pink little body and turn it into pure negative energy and unleashed upon those stupid, happy people of Townsville, making them all miserable! But making me Uh-oh, Townsville. Lucubrious has made good on his threat and unleashed his awful ray. It looks bad, folks. Not even the law is outside his evil grasp. Buddy! Ow! Just look at all these happy, unsuspecting people being plunged into sadness. And what's worse is, it's headed for the carnival! Step right up, ladies and gentlemen, and see the 8th wonder of the world. It's stupendous. It's colossal. It's not true. Go away. The show's a total fake.
Well, Frisbee, you're looking perky today. How's about a little song?
Oh no, not the happy competition.
Said my brother crying.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Townsville's 6th Annual Happiest Citizen Contest. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the happiest citizen of Townsville is... Bubbles! Here you go, my dear.
Said the grand competitioner.
Thank you so very, very, very much! This is the happiest moment of my life!
Suddenly, the world was breezing in, and everybody started crying.
What's going on, Professor?
Said Blossom crying.
We're suffering from the effects of the Miseray.
Said Professor crying.
It's a ray that can take one person's sadness and spread it to thousands of people at a time. How does he know all this?
Said the dog crying.
He's the professor! He knows everything!
Said Buttercup crying.
I don't like it! Who can be such a nasty, mean old creep that he wanted to turn Townsville into a bunch of crybabies?
I think it's Bubbles, I said. And then suddenly, the man turned to me and said,
Or, as I'm now known these days, hilarious! congratulate me, Sorrowpuff Girl. I've lost this contest to you for 6 years running. But now, thanks to the wonders of technology, I'm Townsville's happiest citizen!
Bubbles was crying.
What do we do now, Professor?
Girls, the only known cure for the effects of the misery is something more contagious than sadness, and that's a sense of humor.
You mean being funny?
Yes, make just one person here laugh. Just one, mind you, and the entire town will follow.
They started crying.
But Professor, how can we make anyone laugh when we're so unhappy?
Crying is easy, girls. Comedy is hard. Now go up there and knock 'em out.
Is this thing on? Good evening, ladies and germs. We just flew in from Las Vegas because we can.
Step on it because according to my calculations, the entire town will be flooded with tears in 10 minutes. Make that 5 minutes.
The lovely sound of other people crying. It's so refreshing. You know, Townsville is such a silly name. From now on, I think I'll call it the City of Frownsville.
Where's Bubbles? This Mr. Pigeon looks yellow and has lots of appeal.
It was nice knowing you, Frownsville. I think I'll go home and polish my trophy now. Goodbye.
Then there was trouble. And then they started laughing.
Stop it, I say! I'm the happiest citizen in Townsville!
Well, you did it, girls. You made other people laugh while you were feeling sad yourselves.
Thanks, Professor. It made us feel good again, too. And I got my trophy back. Now I really am the happiest citizen of Townsville. Hooray!
They said.
Yes, Townsville is back to its happy-go-lucky self once more. I'm so happy about it all, I'm crying tears of joy. But whatever happened to our old pal, Lou Gubrius? Well, let's just say Lou retired from the bad guy business. The mayor found him a comfortable job at the carnival, where he could spend the rest of his days spreading happiness and joy to children everywhere.
It only hurts when I laugh.
And so once again, the happy day was happily saved again by the very happy Powerpuff Girls. And a banana.
Barnaby Bear Goes Down Under. Barnaby Bear was excited. He had just arrived in Sydney, Australia, with his Nan. Barnaby and Nan were welcomed down under by Uncle Pete and Kate Koala.
Why is it called Down Under?
Asked Barnaby.
Because it's down under, on the other side of the world from where you live,
replied Kate. They caught the Airport Express bus to Uncle Pete's and had lunch.
I must telephone my mum and tell her I arrived safely,
said Barnaby.
I think you'd better wait. It's the middle of the night in England,
said Kate. The next morning, they went on a tour of Sydney and climbed to the top of Sydney Harbour Bridge. Barnaby noticed a strange-looking building by the harbour.
Those look like the sails of a ship,
said Barnaby, pointing at the building. It was Sydney Opera House.
What is opera?
Asked Barnaby.
Opera is like singing a story,
replied Uncle Pete. Barnaby imagined himself on the huge stage, singing to lots of people. At Sydney Aquarium, they got very close to all sorts of fish.
I hope the glass doesn't break, or we'll get wet,
thought Barnaby. Barnaby wanted to see a big shark. At Bondi Beach, Kenny Kangaroo tried to teach Barnaby how to surf.
This isn't as easy as it looks,
shouted Barnaby. Barnaby found it hard to stand up. Luckily, 2 lifeguards were watching.
I think I'll stay near the beach so I don't get into trouble,
said Barnaby. Next stop was Alice Springs, in the middle of Australia. In Alice Springs, they went to a School of the Air, a radio station that teaches children who live too far from school.
I've got some visitors from England here today. Barnaby Bear and his Nan,
the teacher explained to the listeners. Walking through the town, they found an exhibition of Aboriginal art and culture.
Who are the Aborigines?
Asked Barnaby.
They have lived in Australia for thousands of years, long before European people came,
replied Kate. One of the men was blowing down a long tube of wood.
That's a didgeridoo, a sort of musical instrument. You can have a go if you want,
Kate explained to Barnaby. It didn't sound very much like music when Barnaby played it.
That sounds a bit rude, Barnaby,
said Kate. From Alice Springs, they went to Uluru National Park to see Ayers Rock. They were amazed at how big it was.
It's nearly sunset. Watch the colours change,
said Kate.
Gosh, that's fantastic!
From Alice Springs, they flew to Cairns to see the Great Barrier Reef, the longest coral reef in the world.
That looks like Barnaby fish down there,
observed Nan. On their last day, they took a boat trip down the Daintree River.
There are a lot of old logs at the river edge,
remarked Barnaby.
Ha ha ha, Barnaby, they're not logs,
said Kate, laughing. Here you can see crocodiles. The holiday seemed to pass by quickly. Soon Barnaby and Nan were back at the airport, waving goodbye to Uncle Pete and Kate Koala.
I can't wait to tell Mum and Dad about my adventures,
said Barnaby.
Fast food. A hamburger sat in a hamburger bar waiting to be fried. No one's going to put me, it said, into anyone's inside. 'Cause eating me is cruel, eating me is murder. You can't catch me, I'm the speedy hamburger. So up jumped the hamburger and ran out of the bar. Hey, come back here, said the hamburger cook. You won't get very far. But Hamburger rolled out of the door and off down the street. Who do you think was the first person Hamburger happened to meet? Lollipop lady was walking home with a lollipop in her hand. Get out of the way, Hamburger yelled. I'm the fastest in the land. Catch that hamburger, the cook yelled out. So Lollipop lady turned and gave Hamburger a shout. Hey, little Hamburger, you can't run away. But as Hamburger rushed past, he just had time to say, eating me is cruel, eating me is murder. You can't catch me, I'm the speedy hamburger. Hamburger cook and lollipop lady ran off down the street. And who do you think was the next person Hamburger happened to meet? Lemonade boy with lemonade bottles was loading up the van when Hamburger rushed past shouting, I'm the fastest in the land. Catch that hamburger, said Hamburger cook. It's trying to run away. We're going to catch the little... Lollipop lady began to say. I'll catch it, said Lemonade boy. I'm really fast. But just then he heard Hamburger shout as it went hurtling past. Eating me is cruel, eating me is murder. You can't catch me, I'm the speedy hamburger. So Hamburger cook and Lollipop lady, followed by Lemonade boy, ran off up the street shouting, Hamburger, ahoy! And Hamburger rolled and Hamburger ran and Hamburger couldn't be caught. And Hamburger rolled and Hamburger ran right into an airport. Stop right there, said security guard. Where do you think you're trying to go? I'm just a little hamburger, it said, and I don't know where to go. For a moment it stood in front of the guard and it darted past. You won't catch me, it shouted. You can't run very fast. Eating me is cruel. Eating me is murder. You can't catch me. I'm the speedy hamburger. Hamburger rolled through the terminal and out onto the runway. It ran up to a plane to Jamaica that was waiting to get away. The aeroplane took off and flew into the air, and all the people heard something as they were standing there. Eating me is cruel. Eating me is murder. You can't catch me. I'm the speedy hamburger. Logic. A girl said, I wrote myself a letter, so I said, what did it say? And she said, I don't know, I won't get it till tomorrow. A boy said, I'm really glad my mum called me Jack. I said, why is that? He said, because all the kids at school call me that.
The watch. My mum and dad gave me a watch. Not a posh watch, good enough to tell the time by though. And it went well enough until one day at a camp we were playing smugglers and customs over the sand dunes. I was a smuggler and I had to get £20,000 through the customs for us to win the game. £20,000 written on a piece of paper. There were 3 ways to get past the customs. 1, by running so fast the customs couldn't catch you. 2, by going creepy crawly so they couldn't see you. And 3, going through the customs with it hidden somewhere. I chose 3. I chose to hide it on me somewhere. But where? I know, I said. I'll stuff it in my watch. And I took the bag off my watch, folded up the piece of paper with the £20,000 written on it, slipped it into the watch and clipped the back of my watch on. So then I went creepy crawly over the sand dunes. They saw me, they grabbed me, and they searched me. They looked in my pockets. They looked in my shoes. They looked in my socks. They looked in my jumper, down my jumper, down my shirt, in my armpits. They even looked under my watch, but they never thought to look in my watch, did they? So they let me go. And when I got to the other end, where the other smugglers were, I said, "Hooray! I got through!" And I opened up the back of my watch, and there it was, £20,000. I took it out, handed it over, and we had won the game. I snapped the back of my watch on, looked at the time, and my watch had stopped. It was broken. I'd broken it. That evening, I told my brother all about it, and I said, "Don't tell Mum or Dad about it, or I'll get into trouble. I'll get it mended secretly." So there we were, tea time, and my brother suddenly goes, "What's the time, Mick?" And I went all red and kind of flustered, and I go, and I look at my watch and I go, it's about 6 o'clock. "No, it's not," says my dad. "It's 7 o'clock. And he sees me going red. "Is your watch going wrong?" No, it's okay. "Let's have a look." No, it's all right. Let's have a look. Let me have a look at it. It stopped. It's broken. How did it get broken? "I don't know." "What do you mean, you don't know?" My brother was still laughing all over his face without making a sound. So then I told my dad all about the smugglers and customs and hiding the money in my watch. He was furious. "We gave you the watch so you could tell the time, not for you to use as part of a secret agent smuggling outfit. Well, don't expect us to buy you presents like that again." I was so angry with my brother for getting me into trouble. Inside, I was bubbling. So as soon as tea was over, I went down to our backyard where there was an old cherry tree, and I broke a twig off it. And it was all prickly and flaky and covered in a kind of grey, slimy muck. So then I took this twig back upstairs into our bedroom, and I'll tell you what I did with it. I shoved it into his bed, and as I shoved it into his bed, I thought, this'll pay him back, this'll pay him back, this'll pay him back. He's going to get into bed tonight after I'm asleep, and his feet are going to get all prickled up and covered in grey, mucky, slimy stuff. Well, later that evening, I was doing some homework, and I had some really hard sums to do. I couldn't do them. I was stuck. And my brother, he sees me scribbling out all these numbers, and the page is a mess. So my brother, he says, "What's up? Do you want a bit of help with your sums?" What could I say to that? First I go, no. It's all right. But he goes, "Now come on, I'll lend you a hand." So I say, "Okay." And he comes over and he helps me. He's sitting there right next to me, my enemy, showing me how to do my sums. And then he said, "Now you try." And then I could do them. So there I was, friends with him, grateful. I'm saying, thanks for helping me. But in the back of my mind, I know something. The twig was still in the bed. I didn't know what to say. All I could see was the twig sitting in his bed, just where his feet would get it. Even if I went and got it out, there'd still be a heap of dirty, prickly bits left in his bed after he showed me how to get all the sums right. So I go, "Look, when you go to bed tonight, there'll be a twig in your bed." So he goes, "A twig in my bed? A twig in my bed? How did it get there then?" So I say, "I put it there." And my mum and dad heard that. So my dad goes, "You put a twig in his bed? Did I hear that right? You put a twig in his bed? Might I ask, why did you put a twig in his bed?" And I just couldn't say. I just sat there like a lemon. I couldn't say it was to pay him back for telling on me about the watch, because they wouldn't think there was anything wrong with him doing that. So I just sat there and then I said, I don't know. What a stupid thing to say. And my dad goes, you don't know why you put a twig in his bed? You don't know why? The boy's going mad. First thing he does is smash up his watch, and the next thing, he's going round stuffing twigs in people's beds. He's going stark, staring mad, I tell you. I didn't think I was going mad. And I don't think my brother did. I bet he knew why I put a twig in his bed. The rains. In the Jura Mountains, it rained and rained and rained. Every day, every night, we lay in our tents and listened to the rain. Rain raining, rain raining, rain raining. The earth was a sponge. The paths were rivers. Our sleeping bags were damp. Underneath the tent, it started to smell of old cabbage. Our feet wrinkled. My father got up in the night and shone a torch into the rain and dug a ditch round the tent so that the water would flow away. But the ditch filled up, and one night it flowed into the tent. We lay in the dark while the rain rained on and on. Rivulets of rain trickled through the tent. The lightning lit up our faces. The thunder rolled round the mountains. I thought there could be waves of rain and we would float away. When I woke up, the rain had stopped. There was no pattering on the tent roof. There were birds. It was light. Warm in the sleeping bag, cold on our faces, I pulled my hand out of the bag. I touched the tent. The wall was wet and tight. I wondered what was outside on the other side of the wall. I didn't mean to press too hard. Or perhaps I did. The wall of the tent was so wet and so tight that I poked a hole straight through it. I didn't know, but Dad was standing right there and he saw my finger burst through. He heard it rip the tent wall. For God's sake, what have you done now? I looked through. He was on the other side, staring in. His eye, big in the hole. Oh, sorry, I said. I didn't mean to, honest. Oh, there's dry land out there. Now, it would be great if you subscribed. That is, you become a subscriber. Look out for the subscribe button. What happens, you see, is that I make new vids every few months, and then I post them up one a week for a while. So if you subscribe, you get to see the new ones just as they come hot off the press. Ew.